In China, there is a place called the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau. It is very high and very large. On this plateau, there is a vast, empty land named Kakaxili. In the local language, this name means beautiful green mountain. But for many people, it has another name, the no man's land. Kakaxili has no trees. There is only endless wilderness, sandy ground, and marshes. The summers are short, and the winters are long and very cold. The air is thin. People from lower areas find it hard to breathe here and often get bad headaches. Very few people live here, but it is home to many wild animals. The most precious of these animals is the Tibetan antelope. The Tibetan antelope is a beautiful animal. It has strong legs and can run as fast as the wind. The soft wool under its belly is very fine and very warm. Shawls made from this wool can be sold for a very high price in faraway markets. To get this wool, which is more expensive than gold, some people take big risks. They form hunting gangs. They drive modified cars, carry automatic rifles, and rush into Kakaxili. They kill Tibetan antelopes like cutting grass. They are very cruel. Often, they only take the skin, leaving hundreds of dead bodies on the ground. In just a few years, the number of Tibetan antelopes dropped from hundreds of thousands to less than 20,000. In the towns on the plateau, some people saw all this. They felt very sad. The Tibetan antelope is the spirit of the plateau, a part of Kakaxili. They could not just watch them disappear. So, a group of ordinary people volunteered to help. Among them were former policemen, herdsmen, retired soldiers, and ordinary workers. They pooled their own money to buy a few old, almost broken-down jeeps. They found some old rifles and formed a team. Their job was to enter Kakaxili, patrol the area, protect the antelopes, and catch the hunters. People called them the Wild Yak Team. Their leader was a man named Ratai. Leader Ratai was a true Tibetan man. He was tall, and his face was carved by the sun and wind of the plateau. His skin was dark, and his eyes were sharp like an eagle's. He did not talk much, but he was firm and decisive. His team respected him very much and were also a little afraid of him. This team did not have official jobs or stable money. Their life was very hard. They often did not have enough food. When their cars broke, they had no money to fix them. But their belief, to protect their home and life, kept them going back into the wilderness. The story begins in a cold autumn. A young reporter named Jiayu came from Beijing, the capital city, to the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau. He had heard stories about the Wild Yak Team. He wanted to write a report about this unknown team, to let the outside world know about their difficult work and their determination. After some effort, he finally met leader Ratai in Galmud. Jiayu told the leader his purpose. Leader Ratai looked at him silently for a moment, then nodded. He only said one sentence. "Come into the mountains with us once. Then you will understand everything." The next day, Jiayu set off with the patrol team. Their vehicles were very old, and the engines made loud noises. The cars carried simple luggage, some dry food, a few barrels of gasoline, and repair tools. The team members did not talk much to each other. They just silently checked their equipment. The cars left the main road and drove into the vast Kakaxili. The sight amazed Jiayu. The world was so big. In the distance were continuous snow-capped mountains. Underfoot were yellow grasslands and gravel plains. Tire tracks stretched toward the unseen horizon. The wind was strong, almost knocking people over. Beneath the beauty was deadly harshness. The temperature here was near freezing even during the day, and at night it could kill a person. The air had little oxygen. Jiayu soon began to gasp for breath and felt dizzy. This was a serious high-altitude reaction. The patrol team had a clear goal: to find the hunter's tracks. They followed what might be the hunter's tire marks, bumping along the wilderness. After driving for a long time, they saw a heartbreaking scene on a flat beach. There were piles of Tibetan antelope bodies. Perhaps 100 of them. They had been skinned. Their bloody bodies lay naked on the ground. Some were already rotting, attracting groups of vultures. The air was filled with a strong smell of blood and decay. The team members jumped out of the cars and looked silently. Their faces were full of anger and sadness. A young team member could not bear it and walked aside to vomit. Leader Ratai crouched down. He touched the cold body of a baby antelope. He pressed his lips tightly together. He said nothing. Then he stood up. He said in a low, firm voice, "Clear this area. Count the numbers. They haven't gone far. Let's chase them." They followed the fresh tire tracks and bloodstains. It was a tough chase. The hunters' cars were better and they knew the land better. The patrol team's old jeeps often got stuck in sand or mud. Everyone had to get out and push the cars hard. Their food was cold dry biscuits and pickles. They had to save their water. After chasing for 3 days and 3 nights, they finally found the hunters' camp near a river valley. A few men were sitting around a fire. Next to them were piles of freshly skinned antelope pelts, still bloody. Leader Ratai made a hand signal. The team members split into 2 groups. They quietly moved around from the sides. "Don't move. Put your hands up." The team members suddenly appeared. They pointed their guns at the hunters. The hunters were shocked. One tried to run but was immediately tackled by a team member. After a short struggle, 5 hunters were caught. Their guns and pelts were taken. But from the supplies in the tents and the tire tracks, this was only a small group. The main group had already left. Leader Ratai began to question the captured men. Most were poorly dressed. They looked like poor people themselves. One braver hunter cried, "Leader, we had no choice. Our families are poor. Someone offered a high price for the skins, so we came. We only helped with skinning." The boss took the guns and most of the skins toward the snow mountains. Leader Ratai stared at him. "Who is your boss? Where do you meet?" The man shook his head. "I don't know his real name. Everyone calls him boss. He told us that after this job, each of us would get a lot of money." Ratai knew he wouldn't get more information. They tied up the hunters and put them in the back of a car. With the prisoners and the captured pelts, the convoy continued toward the snow mountains. Jiayu sat in the bumpy car. He looked at the desolate scenery outside. He looked at the determined faces of the team members beside him. His heart was deeply shaken. He had never imagined that protecting something could cost so much. Bigger troubles came next. The weather in Kakaksili changes very fast. One moment it was sunny. The next a fierce white-haired wind blew. It was a strong wind carrying snow that swept across everything. Visibility dropped to almost 0. The convoy had to stop. The team members crowded into the cars to hide from the storm. The temperature dropped sharply. Inside the car, their breath turned to ice. The snowstorm lasted for a day and a night. The cars were almost buried in snow. Worse, their gasoline and food were almost gone. Leader Ratai checked their supplies. The situation was not good. He decided to send one team member down the mountain to get help. He called a team member named Lu Dong. Lu Dong was a young man in his early 20s. He was smart and a good driver. Leader Ratai ordered him, Lu Dong, take one car. Take the sick brother, a team member who fell ill from the cold, and go back to Galmud immediately. Get him to a hospital. Then find a way to get money. Buy enough gasoline, food, and medicine. Bring 2 spare tires too. We will wait for you here, for 5 days at most. You must be fast. Lu Dong nodded firmly. Leader, don't worry. He helped the sick teammate into a jeep. The jeep was in slightly better condition. He drove into the vast snowy plain. Leader Ratai stayed with the remaining men. He also stayed with the prisoners and the 2 broken cars. They found a sheltered spot near a slope. They set up a simple camp to wait. Food became scarcer. Finally, they only had a little fried barley flour. Each day, they could only eat a small handful. They mixed it with melted snow. To survive, they started digging for pika holes. They were catching the only small animals easy to find on the plateau. Roasted pika meat became their rare treat. Gau was the city reporter. He also forced himself to eat it. He did it to save energy. Days passed. Lu Dong did not return. On the 5th day, there was still no sign of a car on the horizon. A feeling of worry spread in the group. Leader Ratai looked in the direction Lu Dong had left. His brow was furrowed. He knew that in Kakaxili, anything could happen. They could wait no longer. The remaining gasoline was not enough to get even 1 car out of Kakaxili. Leader Ratai made a hard decision to release the prisoners. He called the 5 hunters. He untied their ropes. You can go, Leader Ratai said. His voice was hoarse. Walk in the direction of the setting sun. With luck, you might find the road. Remember, don't come back. Money earned from killing living things does not bring good luck. The hunters were surprised. After a moment of disbelief, they thanked him repeatedly. Supporting each other, they stumbled away into the wilderness. Now, the patrol team only had Ratai, Gau, and 3 other team members left. They abandoned 1 car. That car had no gasoline at all. Everyone squeezed into the last car. Using the final bit of gasoline, they drove. They drove in the direction where they thought the boss might have escaped. This was more like an act of faith. They knew the hope was small, but they did not want to give up. Finally, the car ran out of gas completely. They left the car and walked. Walking on a plateau nearly 5,000 meters high, every step was very heavy. Their lips cracked and bled. Their faces were frostbitten. But their eyes still looked ahead. Miraculously, after crossing a hill, they saw a few tents. They also saw several parked off-road vehicles. It was the camp of the hunting boss. They also seemed to have been delayed by the weather. Leader Ratai asked the other team members and Gau to stay behind the slope. He straightened his old army coat. He walked toward the camp alone. He walked step by step. His back looked lonely but very determined against the huge sky and land. The hunters saw him. They picked up their guns. The man called Boss came out of a tent. He was a middle-aged man with a grim face. He was wearing an expensive leather jacket. Leader Ratai stopped about 10 meters away. He said calmly, "Leave the guns and the antelope skins. Come back with me." The boss was startled, then laughed. "Leader Ratai? I've heard of you. Are you alone? Where is your team?" He looked around. He saw the faint shapes behind the slope, but not many. He felt relieved. He changed to a bargaining tone. Leader, why bother? Look at you, how hard your life is. These skins are worth a lot of money. Let's split it, 80-20, no, 70-30. You take most of it, to make life better for your brothers. After this, we go our separate ways. What do you say? Leader Ratai shook his head. He repeated, leave the guns and the antelope skins. This is the last time. The boss face turned dark. He lost his patience. He said fiercely, Ratai, don't push your luck. With just you few people and your old guns, you want to catch me? Get lost before I change my mind. Leader Ratai did not move. He just looked at him. His silence was more powerful than any words. The boss was angered by this silence. Suddenly, he pulled a pistol from his waist. He pointed it at Leader Ratai. He pulled the trigger. The gunshot was very loud in the silent Kakaxili. Leader Ratai's body swayed. He looked down at the blood spreading on his chest. Then he looked up at the hunter. He looked as if he still wanted to say something. But finally, he could not stand anymore. He slowly fell onto the cold ground. The team members behind the slope saw their leader fall. Full of grief and anger, they rushed out. They fired their guns. But the hunters had more people and better guns. Their fire was strong. After a fierce exchange of shots, the gunfire stopped. The hunting boss and his men jumped into their cars in a panic. They drove away in a cloud of dust. On the wilderness, only Leader Ratai's gradually cold body remained. 3 injured or dead team members also remained. Gau did not have a gun. He had lain behind the slope. He had seen everything. When the hunters' cars disappeared, he dared to run out. He ran toward Leader Ratai. The leader lay there. His eyes were still open. He was looking at Kakaxili's forever blue sky. His expression was calm. There was no pain. There was only a trace of unfinished concern. The wind blew through his gray hair. It also blew over the land he had sworn to protect. Gau survived. He and 1 team member were less injured. They walked for 3 whole days. They were filled with great sorrow and cold. Finally, they met a scientific research team. They were saved. Back in the city, Gau wrote everything. His report shocked the whole country. For the first time, people truly understood. They understood that in faraway Kakaxili, such terrible hunting was happening. They understood that there was such a tragic group of heroes. They used the simplest ways. They paid the cost of their lives. They did it to protect endangered creatures. Great public pressure pushed the government to take strong actions. Soon after, the Kakaxili National Nature Reserve was established. It was equipped with professional forest police. It had patrol vehicles and equipment. Large-scale hunting was basically stopped. Under strict protection, the number of Tibetan antelopes began to slowly increase. It increased year by year. Lu Dong was confirmed to have died. His car was on the way back to Kakaxili. It had tragically sunk into deadly quicksand. When people found it, only the roof was visible. Many years have passed. Kakaxili is still vast. It is still desolate. It is still beautiful. Herds of Tibetan antelopes run on the wilderness again. Their numbers are recovering. Every year, many people come to the memorial. They come to the memorial at the nature reserve. They remember Leader Ratai. They remember Lu Dong. They remember all the members of the Wild Yak team. They were not official soldiers. They did not have advanced weapons. They were often hungry. But with the simplest belief in their most precious lives, they defended the dignity of life. They also woke the conscience of many people. Their story is like the wind of Kakaxili. It will forever be told on this plateau. People believe their souls have become eagles on the highland. They are forever guarding this beautiful green mountain.